the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
And one time. Hey, throw your hand. What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron.
Brian.
And this is the Courtside View podcast. And we are back again following Super Bowl. What a game. That was one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen. Despite the ending.
No, the ending was fantastic. 10 out of 10.
We'll get to that. But yeah, the Super Bowl, I want to talk about the Super Bowl itself. The festivities, Rihanna's performance was amazing, even though she didn't have no guest. Well, she technically did have a guest, but not who we expected. But yeah, let's get to the game. So, this game, I did not expect the game to be this just high amount of points.
I told you. I had one of the scores right, but not the other one.
What did you have?
I said the Chiefs was going to win 35 to 28 or something like that. But yeah,
I think it was the final score was
38-35.
Wow. Damn. That is a lot of points. And I have to say, the Chiefs, I was right. We were right. Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, especially when he has offensive line. The offensive line was sensational. I don't think they gave up a sack that game.
No.
Wow. Against that.
I mean, they had a pretty good pressure rate. I think I saw at one point they had like 10 pressures on 30-something dropbacks. It's like a 33%. That's actually pretty high.
The first quarter, I would say that was probably where they got the most pressures because it felt like the Eagles' defense was making it uncomfortable for the Chiefs' offense. Now, I think they scored a touchdown in the first quarter. So.
Yeah, they scored on like their first drive.
Yeah, but then after that, I think because I believe the Eagles went up double digits.
It was up
point.
10.
Yeah, so they made it uncomfortable, but like we always say, experience, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they've been there before. And you can't be relaxed when it comes to that team. And so the second half comes around. Matter of fact, before we get to the second half, that play where Jalen Hurts fumbled the football, that was very important. Even though the Eagles went up 10, they could have been up 14 instead of 10, and it could have changed the outcome of the game. Because the Eagles, they were playing phenomenal. No mistakes at all, moving the ball down the field. Jalen Hurts was sensational. But then that play happened, and it made the game different. It became an actual game. The Eagles, they gave the Chiefs life.
Yep.
And so I'm not going to say that was the moment of the game where the Eagles lost it. No, because the Eagles were up 10. But it gave the Chiefs more life. Instead of 14, they were down 10, which is very doable. I mean, 14 is doable as well because it's Patrick Mahomes. But you understand what I'm saying. And it also gave the defense confidence as well. But, again, I have to say Patrick Mahomes is just – he's different. He's different. Talk about Patrick Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes is generational, transcendent. All of the words that you can describe him as, he is that. The man came out there on one leg, hurt his leg before the half, came back the second half and only threw one incompletion. And then he went and scrambled for like nearly 20 yards to put his team in position to win. I said this dude was going to cook up Sunday. I mean, like I said before, if Dak Prescott can put 40 on the Eagles defense, what was Pat Mahomes going to do? Similar results.
Yeah.
I've been said that Eagles defense wasn't who we thought they were.
You saw that I sent you that clip about Darius Slay. He was on it was like a YouTube short, and he said he holds practically every play. Remember, I don't know if you saw it. There was a clip it was a Darius Slay. He was talking about James Bradbury, the play at the end where he was holding Juju Smith-Schuster, and he was like, yeah, that's a hold, but I wouldn't call it in that time. And he says that I hold practically every play. Now sometimes I make a play, but he says he holds practically every play, and you responded. He was like, he ain't no. I think he said he ain't no Trey Diggs or
Yeah,
something.
he's no Trayvon Diggs.
So that was funny. But anywho, it's amazing. It's amazing how you look at this Eagles team, and we talked about it. They were clearly the more talented team. They had more Pro Bowl players on offense and defense. But coaching matters. Who you have at QB matters. And offensive line matters. And when you have that, you can win anything. And so I think I may have said
Special
this,
teams matters too.
Special Kadarius Toney, that trade helped them win the Super Bowl. If he doesn't get that return, we may be looking at the Eagles as Super Bowl champions instead of the Chiefs. So talk about that. So making the trade, so the GM did his job, the coach did his job, and the quarterback did this job. And when you have that working together, you potentially have a dynasty. And so it's, wow. I still can't believe it. Like, we're seeing, this is possibly the Patriots 2.0. If Andy Reid stays around, the key is Andy Reid. If he stays around a lot longer, maybe 5-7 years, this could potentially be the Patriots 2.0, because a lot of the things that the Patriots did situationally, they never had the best talent. Against the Rams that one year, that team should not have won.
The year Julian Edelman won Super Bowl MVP?
I think so, and they stole that from Gilly Lock. You know what I'm saying? Stephon Gilmore should have won that. He had a game of his life, but they shouldn't have won that year. 2016, they shouldn't have won that year. They didn't even have Gronk of that game, and they still won. This is what I'm talking about with the Chiefs, where Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, they can overcome not having the most talent and still win because they know how to win situationally. They don't make the key mistake that, like other teams, throw an interception in the fourth quarter like I think Joe Burrow did, or make a fumble, right? They don't do that. They just find a way of getting it done. And that's how Tom Brady was. That's how Bill Belichick was. This is scary. This is scary.
You know what's
for the
funny?
league.
The Chiefs won despite like every football rule broken. They won in spite of they losing the time of possession, despite throwing for less than 200 yards, and despite having a receiver that even got 90 yards. And being down double digits at the half.
It's Patrick Mahomes' greatness. It really is, because if you look at the stats, you're like, damn, Jalen Hurts outperformed Patrick Mahomes. But when you watch it in real time, you're like, man, this man Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter, he was ridiculous. He doesn't need to throw for a bunch of yards to make an impact.
Yep.
And so just situationally, they just find ways to win. And it's going to be very hard for teams to overcome that for the next 10 years. Because Patrick Mahomes, he's the best quarterback in the NFL, and he's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL. That's very hard to deal with. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, you name it. I'll even put in Deshaun Watson, even though he was awful this year. It's going to be very hard to beat this guy. Your team better be equipped. You better have the right coach, and you better have a quarterback that can go up against Patrick Mahomes, that can potentially outduel Patrick Mahomes. Because if you don't have that, you're not beating the Chiefs. This guy, Patrick Mahomes, is something special, the likes we've never seen before. And it's interesting. You know who his favorite player was growing up? Aaron Rodgers. You know, that's so funny. It's so funny how
he's already lapped Aaron Rodgers.
I know.
All the
Hey,
time,
I'm just saying, but you see the inspiration. Not from obviously choking, but in terms of his game, because his game sort of mirrors Aaron Rodgers a little bit. But anywho, this is not Aaron Rodgers. Well, we'll get to him later on. But yeah, it's just amazing how they just are always able to find a way to win despite not having the requisite pieces, despite being injured, despite being down double digits like they were 2 Super Bowls ago against the 49ers. It seems like Patrick Mahomes is the best. It seems like Patrick Mahomes plays better when he's down than when he's up.
That actually
Isn't that something? Man, what? Nick Wright made, I know Nick Wright. He made this list. He was like top 5 QBs. He was like number 1, Patrick Mahomes down in the game. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes on one leg. I think he said number 3, it was Jalen Hurts. Number 4, it was, I forgot. It was like Patrick Mahomes again. And number 5 was Patrick Mahomes again. But yeah, that's how great he is. Like, it just doesn't matter what he's dealing with. He still finds a way to win. Last year was probably his worst year, and he still put up crazy numbers. Like, people were questioning him. Is he the best? Is he that dude for real?
Fools. All
Like,
of them.
He's that dude. He's special. It's over.
We've been saying it for like the past year, ever since the Tyreek trade happened. I was like, it's still Pat Mahomes. It don't matter who you put out there.
He's the best player, and he's the best quarterback. It's not Joe Burrow. It's not Josh Allen. It's not Justin Herbert. He's the best player. He's the best quarterback. Enough said. It's over. He's not one of the best quarterbacks. He's not a top 2 quarterback. He's the best quarterback. Enough with the hating. Enough with undermining his greatness. And this is not dick riding. I'm just speaking facts. Anywho.
On another hand, the freaking Eagles defensive former coordinator Jonathan Gannon should be ashamed of himself.
Absolutely.
Because not only did they scored a touchdown on, they ran the same play on the opposite side of the field and got a touchdown again. And guess what? After that abysmal performance, guess what? He gets a head coaching job.
Unbelievable.
While Eric Bieniemy, on the other hand, had 5 seasons of being a top 5 offense in the NFL, probably top 3 too. He has to go be a coordinator for the Commanders.
It's unbelievable. It really is, because you see Matt Nagy get a job. You see Doug Peterson get a job, and they didn't call plays. They were the offensive coordinator for Andy Reid. But when it comes to Eric Bieniemy, he has to continuously prove himself. He has to leave a great situation with Patrick Mahomes and go to a dysfunctional situation in the Commanders just to prove that he's a good offensive mind. So I don't know what's going on in these
After
interviews.
Andy Reid came out and said he calls the plays, by the way.
I don't know what's going on in these interviews. I don't know what's being said. I don't know how these owners think, but it's ridiculous. He should have a job. He really should have a job, because he has the track record. He has a resume. I saw an article where it showed like his off the field stuff in the past. It doesn't matter, because what's his name? The coach from the Titans also had off the field stuff.
Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, he also had off the field stuff. So I don't want to hear that excuse as well. He deserves a job. He's paid his dues. Give him the damn job. And now he has to go to the Commanders and pray that Sam Howell will be a solid QB. Sam Howell from North Carolina? I'm talking about North Carolina football, not North Carolina basketball, and the basketball team sucks too. But that's a different story for another
Drake
day.
May a top QB for the next year's class?
Yeah,
He plays at North Carolina.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I ain't gonna lie, but they're not known for football until the coach. He used to coach for Texas, and he won like a national title. I forgot his name. He went to North Carolina and sort of turned the program around. But Sam Howell, he has to get Sam Howell to look good, a 4th-round pick to look good in order to be respected amongst these owners and get a head coaching hire. It's blasphemous. It's ridiculous. But hopefully Eric Bieniemy can do well. Even I know you're a Cowboys fan, so you're praying on the Commanders' downfall. But hopefully Eric Bieniemy can get the job done so he can finally get a head coaching job. Any final words on the Super Bowl? Oh, wait a minute. How can I not talk about Jalen Hurts? You know what? Jalen Hurts, the Eagles lost, But Jalen Hurts proved something to me. He proved that he's number one. He's a franchise QB. He's the driving. Well, I actually already knew that he's the driving force of that team. That on the biggest stage, he can go toe to toe with the best of them, and that's what he did. 4 total touchdowns, over 200 yards passing. He was sensational. That one throw to A.J. Brown, that was a complete dime. Oh my gosh, all these haters out here, all these people that doubted Jalen Hurts, you can't doubt him anymore. Like, dude showed that he can be a quarterback, that he can make the necessary throws in the heat of competition, at the biggest stage. It wasn't Jalen Hurts that lost that game. It was the defense.
That's interesting.
Oh, really?
I was told all year that if you turn the ball over, then it don't matter. It don't matter how good you play for that. You turn the ball over, you suck. That's what I was told.
But they still went up. They went up, though.
That's what I was told.
And the defense, listen, the defense was the reason they lost the game. He put up 35 points, man.
So the defense is the reason. That's interesting.
I know what you got.
That's interesting
because
when my QB gave up when my team gave up 17-point leads, the defense was getting cooked. It was my quarterback's fault for turning the ball over, and that's why
he turned the ball over twice.
And Jalen Hurts gave up a pick 6. Gave up a fumble 6.
I mean,
he played great. I'm just saying we got to keep it.
It was the beginning of the game.
So
it was like
so.
I think it may have been the second quarter. Was it the second quarter or the end of the first? Whatever it is, it was still the beginning.
So
what you mean? So
they could have went up like 14 points.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, your QB be throwing 2 picks instead of if
the
it was
goalpost
like
is moving.
If it was like
the
one pick,
goalpost is moving.
If it was 1 pick at the beginning of the game, I'm like, okay, all right, but 2 picks.
The goalpost is moving.
And what was it? A pick 6? Well, that Jacksonville game, he threw a pick 6. Was it a pick 6?
That bounced off to my receiver's hand. Heck yeah.
Why does he keep throwing it to that man? That bum, Noah Brown. Well, excuse me.
He was wide open.
He's not a bum. But Noah Brown, he keeps bobbling the ball. He has butter fingers. Why you keep throwing to him?
So don't throw to the open guy
Absolutely.
for the play the designed this for.
Absolutely.
You're crazy.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
That's like if we playing basketball and you see
They tell Kellen Moore don't cook up plays for that guy to get the ball.
That's like if you play basketball, right, and Ben Simmons is wide open for a 3. Are you going to pass Ben Simmons the ball at the 3-point line?
That is completely different.
No, it's not.
Hitting a 3-point shot isn't the same as catching a 5-yard pass.
You're passing the ball either way, and you know that the guy that you're passing to is not very good at what he's supposed to do.
He actually had a pretty good game that day. He thought maybe my QB thought he was reliable.
Oh my God!
He was catching everything else.
Well, your QB. He needs to go to therapy or something because something's going on with him. Keeps throwing to Noah Brown all the time. But this is not a Cowboys discussion. Stop trying to hijack the Super Bowl. Stop trying to hijack the subject. Anywho, Jalen Hurts wasn't the reason why they lost. It was the defense. He put up 35 points.
Jalen Hurts was part of the reason they lost.
But
it was mostly the defense.
Thank you. If there was a percentage, I say 5%. He's 5% of the reason they lost because of that fumble. Is that fair to say? 10%? Okay. You know what?
He had like two other throws that should have been picked off, but Chiefs DBs have no ball skills.
Okay, whatever. How did you feel about Jalen Hurts' play though?
He actually played pretty well. Besides, the obvious turnovers, he was making throws. His receivers made some crazy grabs too. Let's not take some of the credit away from them. Like that one throw, I think the best throw he had that night was to Dallas Goedert on, I think it was like a little post on to the outside, and it was he threw it like perfectly because the DB, I don't know if it was Trent McDuffie or whoever, he was literally right, but like that ball was placed you couldn't place a ball more perfect than that.
Yeah, Trent McDuffie was nervous that first half.
Yeah, you
could tell, and I was so shocked because the Eagles' offense, it looked so easy. Like they were just like that offensive line was just dominating. Yeah. I was just like, there's no way they could lose this. And then all of a sudden, the Chiefs just find a way to win. Despite how dominant that Eagles offense was. It's just incredible. It's just where would you rank this Super Bowl I would say the past since 2000. Where would you rank the Super Bowl?
Considering I haven't seen at least.
All right, 2010. Where would you rank
2010.
the Super Bowl? Make it easy. So let's break it down. So some of the best Super Bowl games I would say since 2010. You have the Brady, you have the Eli rematch, you have Brady and the Seahawks Legion of Boom game. That was really good. You have the Ravens and the 49ers game where it came down to that controversial no call in the end zone where the 49ers could have won the game if they would have called the flag, which it was a penalty. That was a flag, but they didn't call it for some reason. They wanted them to play that game. You also have the
2016 Super Bowl.
You have that game, the Falcons and the Patriots. And then you have you also have the 49ers and the Chiefs game. That was pretty close until up to the end, I think it was. And then there was the Bengals, Rams, what else? There's some other games. I can't think of any other games. But those are some games that I know that was like really close. That were really good matchups that I can think of. But yeah, where would you rank this game all time since 2010?
Probably in the top 5. I mean, the ending was kind of anticlimactic, even though I thoroughly enjoyed it. But as far as like from a football fan, it was kind of
Mm-hmm. I'd say
it's top 5.
It's definitely in the top 5. All right, so number 1 for me has to be Patriots and Seahawks. That has to be number 1. That was the craziest ending I may have ever seen for a football game. That's number 1. Number 2 has to be the Falcons and the Patriots. That was crazy as well. That was number 2 for me. Number 3, I feel like it's between the Super Bowl and the Patriots and the Giants Super Bowl. I think those two games are sort of battling each other. I'll probably go this game, number 3. I enjoyed this game more than the other game because that was like a low scoring game. I think it was like 20, maybe 17 or something. It was kind of low scoring. This one was more high scoring. I think I'm gonna go this one with number 3 and probably go Giants Patriots number 4, and then the fifth one, I'll probably go Ravens and 49ers because that was a close game and the 49ers came back from a big deficit.
Yeah,
I remember.
did.
So, and there was some cool moments. Jacoby Jones, I think he had the longest kick return ever.
I think so.
So yeah, I'll probably go. That'll probably be how I rank it. I'm probably missing some, but that's how I would look at it. You agree? Or would you switch?
I'm torn on the Giants and
Patriots?
Yeah. I'm not sure whether to put that 3 or 4.
3 or 4? Well, either.
It really don't matter.
Yeah, it really don't matter.
it's-
But
it's
but yeah, that for me, I think that's a top 3 Super Bowl since 2010. So
Okay.
all right. So where does Patrick Mahomes rank all time right now as a QB?
I don't think he's top 5 yet because there's guys ahead of him that won more. So I'm gonna keep him like right outside the top 5.
That's interesting because I see a lot of people already ranking him top 3. I watch ESPN, watch Fox.
They need to
FS1.
relax.
I'm surprised. I would think you would have him in the top 5 already.
Nah, I did after, but then I looked. I was like, well, these guys got a greater body of work. So, but in a few years though, he's definitely going to be in the top 5
So
if he keeps up this level of play.
Who would you rank over Patrick Mahomes right now?
Obviously Brady, Montana, Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw.
Yes.
Be for real.
Yes.
Terry Bradshaw.
He's won more.
So what? Troy Aikman's won more. Are you gonna put him over?
You know how I feel
Patrick
about
Mahomes?
that was a terrible point. You know how I feel
Oh
about
my God, Terry Bradshaw.
yes.
No.
Yes. Wait, are we talking about skill or greatness? What are we talking about?
Who do you think right now greatest QBs, who is ranked over Patrick Mahomes? Who do you have ranked over Patrick Mahomes?
Okay, the 3 I just named.
You're crazy, Terry Bradshaw. Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Continue.
Peyton Manning,
That's
obviously. Fair. That's what, 4?
Mm-hmm.
And no, I'm not gonna put Steve Young.
Did you said Joe Montana, right?
Yes.
You said Tom Brady, right?
Yes.
Okay, I was making sure.
Peyton Manning, Terry Bradshaw, and
You didn't say John Elway, did you?
I think John Elway's a fraud.
You're crazy. So you put Terry Bradshaw over John Elway?
Listen, I seen a very interesting thread that broke down John Elway's career, and the evidence was damning. If I could find it, I'm gonna send it to you. You're gonna be like, "Whoa,
you're crazy." He
see.
won 2 Super Bowls back to back, and he went to like 4 or 5 Super Bowls.
Okay,
come on, bro.
Pat Mahomes has been to 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah. Terry Bradshaw, besides the Super Bowls, what does he have? Besides the Super Bowls, he had a lot of help. That defense was carrying that man.
Pat Mahomes ain't have a lot of help.
He did, but Terry Bradshaw had a lot of help,
and he got the job done.
Help.
So
okay, he won 4, but some of those he was being carried by that defense. Now the second half, okay, he was making some plays, but that first go round, that defense was. Come on now.
I can't think of any
Terry
QBs
Bradshaw?
right now.
Top.
So he would be 4 on your list in this scenario, then.
I ain't putting no Terry Bradshaw over Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. This is the problem with the youth. They don't respect the work the old heads put in before.
I respect the old heads. There's some people that don't even have Joe Montana in the top 5 or don't respect
crazy.
Joe Montana. I respect Joe Montana. I have him as my number 2 greatest quarterback ever. Tom Brady's number 1. Number 3, I probably have Peyton Manning. Number 4, if number 4 gets a little dicey for me, I have to think about that. But those would be like my top 3, and then number 4, and then number 5, it gets a little dicey. Man. Yeah, I would have to think about that one. I can't really say. But Terry Bradshaw at 4 though. I don't know. I have to think about that one. But Patrick Mahomes, would I put him in my top 5 right now?
I even seen someone said Drew Brees was ahead of him. I was like, come on now.
Nah, Drew Brees. I mean, I understand the whole argument with Drew Brees because his career numbers are ridiculous. I don't know. It's a hard thing to do because
Drew Brees won a hospital ring.
It's so hard to do because Drew Brees, his numbers are amazing. His career numbers, and then also,
but a lot of those numbers was put up in losing efforts.
Right, that is true. Like the years where he went like 5,000 yards for 3 straight years, he was losing majority of those seasons.
His defense was abysmal, but still.
And he did have Sean Payton as well, and he was in the dome, so that helped out a lot. But like, do we take it to account career, like just records? Do we take that into account?
See, that's where stuff gets too, fuzzy because it's like, what criteria exactly are we going off of? No one has defined the definitive criteria for ranking these QBs. At least for like wide receivers, there's a clear criteria, but for QBs, like for real, QB is the only position really where championships matter so much.
I think more than ever, because we talk about championships in NBA, right? But I think more so it's applied in the NFL when it comes to QBs. Because when people that I know, when I watch NFL, when I watch media, when I watch television, they don't compare these QBs by how many MVPs, how many All-Pros. They compare them by the amount of championship games and the amount of Super Bowls. And is that fair? I would say no, because there's more to it than just winning a Super Bowl. Because as you can see, a lot of things go into it. Like I told you about Terry Bradshaw. That defense was carrying him on some of them Super Bowls. Troy Aikman, he had a lot around him. He didn't have the greatest numbers in the world.
I don't think Troy Aikman's even a top 10 QB.
Oh, my God. I'm not going to debate you on that. But anywho.
Bus rider.
Like I'm saying, there's a lot to go into it. And if you're a QB that won 4 Super Bowls, but you don't have a whole bunch of All-Pros, like you may have one All-Pro, how the hell am I going to put you in the top 5? Because your individual greatness doesn't measure up to the other QBs. Like Dan Marino, the reason why I see like a lot of old heads in the media, they'll come on here and say, "Oh, nah, Dan Marino was top 5, even though he didn't win a ring," is because he was that great from an offensive player perspective. I don't know how many All-Pros he had, but I know he was one of the very few QBs that was throwing for 4,000 yards. That was throwing like 30, 40 touchdowns in an era where it was run first.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very hard to decipher which QB should be ranked over another when it's so much about, okay, did you win? Okay, how many championship games? Because we look at Aaron Rodgers, people look at Aaron Rodgers like he's a bum. This dude has 4 MVPs, has like more first-team All-Pros than Tom Brady, but we look at him as a bum because he couldn't get another Super Bowl. That's how important it is.
I actually think that kind of lacks a little context.
Okay, why?
We don't say it because he couldn't get to another. We say it because he had opportunity just to get to another Super Bowl and just couldn't do it. That's why his legacy took a hit.
Again.
Because he had the opportunity. He was literally on the cusp of going back, and he just failed.
But do we say that about Drew Brees?
Yes, they do say that about Drew Brees.
No, not to the degree of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that's because Drew Brees wasn't winning MVPs every year.
But
at least Drew Brees, he had legitimate excuses. They clearly got robbed in that Rams game.
Okay, but what about the next year? He still had a really good team the next year, and then the next year.
Yep, you get on him for that.
Matter of fact, the year
one year the freaking Marcus Williams forgot how to play football, didn't realize he could tackle Stephon Diggs. Then the other year, I think that was the very next year, that's when the Rams crap happened.
And then what about the year where he faced the Bucks and they lost?
Oh.
They had a really good team that year as well, and they beat the Bucks. They beat the Bucks twice by a crazy margin. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that one when they went to Tampa and they destroyed them? I'm just saying, but we don't hear that about.
at least he lost to the GOAT.
Aaron Rodgers lost to the GOAT too.
He was on. It's not the same.
No. See what I mean? It's about. Like
Aaron Rodgers lost to Tom Brady when he had a bad game.
This is the thing, because
I got Aaron Rodgers above Drew Brees all time.
Oh, me too. But here's the thing, because I hate we're turning this into Aaron Rodgers discussion. Here's the thing: people don't like Aaron Rodgers. In my opinion, I think it's not even about football to me, because before the whole vax thing, before the whole he lied about being vaccinated, there wasn't as much animosity towards him. But once that happened, that's when there was still haters, of course, people like you, because he would always come into Dallas and beat you guys every time.
No,
there was always people like him.
He was arrogant.
The Bears fans didn't like him either, because he always beats the Bears. But once the whole anti-vax thing came into the equation, then that's when everybody started to hate Aaron Rodgers. And then we find out about the whole thing with the franchise, him holding them hostage, and he's kind of turning into Brett Favre a little bit, and people don't like Brett Favre either. That's where you see all this animosity and people pretty much calling him a bum because he only won 1 Super Bowl and he keeps choking in the biggest of games, when you have Drew Brees, who's a more likable person. People like Drew Brees, even though he said that thing, remember a few years ago, though he said that thing and people were getting on him. Because he's likable, because he doesn't hold the franchise hostage like Aaron Rodgers did with the Green Bay Packers. People are not going to get on Drew Brees as much, even after he lost to Tom Brady that one year. So I don't want to go too deep in the Aaron Rodgers discussion, but that's why people act the way they do for Aaron Rodgers. But anywho, I will put Patrick Mahomes over Aaron Rodgers, but I think that Patrick Mahomes is better than Terry Bradshaw.
Okay.
I think he's better than Terry Bradshaw. I'm sorry.
Obviously, from a skill standpoint,
I think that. Man, it's hard because it's so long ago, but I just can't put Terry Bradshaw in the top 3. I'm sorry, that's just me. But anywho,
life in these sentences, fucking right, it's either that or life sentences. I'm relatives with Benjamin. I used to give a fuck about my luck when I was innocent. Now what the fuck is up? I'm at your neck like a Pendleton nigga. I need